Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a really fundamental and honestly kind of daunting issue that echoes through literally all of our lives at some point. We're going to venture into the deep corridors of the human soul and focus squarely on the center of our existence, belief, and the search for meaning, all by analyzing the incredible insights of the eighth word. Throughout this analysis, we'll see step by step how we can emerge from the darkness that sometimes just completely constricts our spirits. So if you're ready, open your mind and let's jump right in. Okay, let's dive into this. Be honest with yourself for a second. Does our daily routine really just consist of eating, sleeping, reading, and working? I mean, for a lot of us, it certainly feels that way, right? You wake up, you go to work or school, you eat, maybe rest for a bit, and then you sleep again. Does a whole lifetime really revolve entirely around this mechanical loop? Our source text shakes us right from the start with this exact thought. Because if life is truly just about that mundane routine of eating, sleeping, and working, well, we have a very serious problem. This shallow cycle absolutely does not satisfy the immense potential and the deep search for meaning that's lying dormant within us. When we view life purely through those mechanical routines, the reality we arrive at is, frankly, incredibly bleak. The text we're analyzing objectively lays out the devastating reality that comes from a perspective void of belief. Because if death is just this absolute end that leaves nothing behind and closes all the doors forever, then passing time, it just becomes our greatest, most ruthless enemy. And the situation gets even heavier from there. It leads to this profound sense of being entirely alone in a massive universe. We're talking cosmic loneliness and a deep, consuming meaninglessness. In a world like that, a human being feels completely abandoned, and the silent screams of the soul are unfortunately just left unanswered. Section 1. The goal of the eighth word. So, right at this point of deep despair, we need a roadmap to scatter that dark picture. You see, this text wasn't just written for the sake of philosophizing, not at all. It has a highly practical and grand objective. It aims to decode the true nature of the world we live in, the complex human soul we carry, and most importantly, the actual function of religion itself. Because without a spiritual framework, without the guidance of true religion, even this vast, magnificently beautiful world literally transforms into a prison, a zindan. Why? Well, because in a faithless perspective, death is mere annihilation, and the disasters, pains, and illnesses we face, they lose all meaning. They're just empty suffering. A person feels like a helpless prisoner, entirely abandoned to their own fate within the gears of this giant, uncaring universal machine. Section 2. Man's Need for Eternity. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that suffocating dark prison metaphor we just talked about, it isn't drawn up by the source text to terrify us or make us feel hopeless. It actually has a very strategic purpose. It's meant to agitate us, to shake us up, and bring the deep, undeniable structural needs of the human soul right up to the surface. Because if we can't accurately diagnose the problem, we can't find the right cure. And here's the incredible philosophical weight of a single truth. Man lives in the world with his body, but his heart desires eternity. The entire emotional and logical core of the text is hidden right here in this paradox. Think about it. We are physically limited. We're trapped in a specific time frame, a specific location, in aging cells. Our bodies are mortal and finite. But that engine inside us, that heart, that soul, it operates as if it's literally programmed for eternity. It constantly desires what will never end, what is absolutely limitless. All our internal distress is born out of this massive, massive paradox. So there are really three main friction points where our eternity-seeking soul violently clashes with the walls of this temporary, limited world. The first is our love. The human capacity to love is so boundless that it simply cannot fit into finite, decaying, fleeting things. It just overflows. The second is our sense of justice. The unfinished injustices and unpunished evils we see in daily life start this massive rebellion within us. Our soul actively demands a phase of completion where absolute justice will finally manifest. And the third? That's our restless mind. Our intellect constantly questions existence. We're always asking, where did I come from and where am I going? A limited, materialistic world can never, ever calm these three massive storms inside us. Section 3. The Guidance of True Religion. Right in the middle of this immense chaos and violent friction, the solution steps in. The analysis positions true religion, Hakdin, as the structural answer to these intense, infinite human needs. Religion isn't positioned as just some set of rules made up of empty rituals. No, it's a flawless compass. It's a guide giving direction to a human soul that has basically slipped out of its orbit, gotten completely lost, and is desperately searching for answers. So, how exactly does this compass get us out of that existential prison? First, it connects a person directly to their creator, and that bond instantly shatters that terrifying cosmic loneliness and feeling of abandonment. Second, it reminds humanity of the afterlife. Belief in the afterlife is the only rational, truly satisfying answer to that problem of the heart desiring eternity. And third, it completely reframes the definition of life itself. Life is no longer this aimless drifting. Instead, it becomes an honorable duty and a precious trust that we have to protect.
Section 4. A new view of the world.
Let's move to and see how this builds our external perspective. This grand spiritual repair doesn't just fix our inner world, it completely restructures how we view the physical world around us. That terrifying prison metaphor is now totally replaced by much more profound meanings. Just look at how powerful these new identities are through the lens of belief. The world is no longer a dark jail. It's a field for the afterlife, a place where we plant the seeds we're going to harvest in eternity. It's a guest house where we know we aren't permanent, but we're being hosted with immense honor. It's a fair testing ground where we display our abilities and virtues. And honestly, in what might be one of literature's most beautiful comparisons, it's a tree's shade on a long, exhausting journey towards eternity, a place where we rest and catch our breath for a little while before continuing on. The world becomes a meaningful, temporary, yet highly valuable stopping point.
So, the crucial point is finding this incredible balance. The world is neither everything nor nothing. According to the source text, gaining a religious perspective definitely does not mean completely withdrawing from the world and locking yourself away in a cave on some mountaintop. That is a huge misconception. True religion doesn't sever our ties with life. Actually, it's the exact opposite. It places life onto its proper magnificent scale. It doesn't deify the world and make it everything, but it also doesn't completely devalue it and consider it nothing. It's a precious vehicle, and it's a vehicle that absolutely must be utilized properly on our road to eternity. Section 5. Finding answers to the soul's questions.
Let's bring all of this together. Why does this deep philosophical analysis matter so much for you and me right now? This isn't just some intellectual debate left in ancient, dust-covered texts. It's a vital issue that is directly related to your existential health today. And this brings us to perhaps the most revolutionary statement of the whole analysis. You see, the modern world sometimes tries to position religion merely as a relaxation tool, kind of like a psychological painkiller. But the text is crystal clear on this. Religion is not a tool meant just to put our existential dread to sleep. It's not here just to silence or suppress the darkness deep within our souls. Religion is entirely active. It exists to be a torch in those dark labyrinths of our soul, to personally show us the right, luminous, and eternal direction. It is not an escape, it's an awakening.
And this is the actual practice we need to apply to our own lives. Today, do yourself a favor. Take a break from the constant rush for just a moment and ask yourself these 3 major questions aloud. Where did I come from? Where am I going? And what does this life actually want from me? Our source text tells us that asking these questions shouldn't make us anxious. On the contrary, these questions are the coordinates of the map that will get us out of that spiritual prison. Don't accept them as a source of anxiety. Accept them as invitations presented directly to you to seek out the truth.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want you to put all the metaphors aside for a second. Life is rushing by, and your heart, which we know desires the limitless, is constantly demanding something. Now is the time to be completely honest with your inner world. When you take off your daily masks, when you're just left all alone with your thoughts, what is the real question echoing inside? Which question is your soul actually seeking an answer to? Finding the answer to that question will perhaps be the most precious moment of your journey in the shade of that tree. Thanks so much for joining me on this analysis. May your mind never lack truth and your heart never lack a compass. See you next time.